Welcome everyone to Viyahta's tiny house village. It is pouring down rain here, but my partner and I are determined to send out a message of peace today. So let me introduce Mikael. Say hi.
Right. Hello. Hello.
And
Shalom, everyone.
the rain is just pouring. We don't know if we're going to have to redo this, but we're trusting the rain will slow down and you'll be able to hear us. Welcome to Viyahta's tiny house village. Male, female, we're going to bring you a message of boot camp for peace. So let me welcome you with my tiny house journey village. So here we go. It's gonna rain, but all right. So we are here in the village and it's pouring down rain, but I'm gonna trust that the rain will slow down. So you can hear me and my partner, Mikael. This is my partner, my friend, and so much more. And he's the male energy today. You usually see just me, but today we're going to bring to you boot camp for peace. All over the world now, it's a lot of tension. There's conflict again in the Middle East, but we want to shine some light of truth on the whole picture. So, Mikael is a Vietnam veteran. He's my expert today on boot camp. So, Mikael is going to share with us the military boot camp training experience, what it's for, what happens. And hopefully, we are all going to become less polarized wrong, right, good, bad and more purpose filled as to why we are in this conflict on the planet Earth because we are all one. Whatever's going on in the Middle East, we're feeling it now. So we want to bring to you unity, purpose, peace, and laughter, maybe a little laughter, but mostly educate you on military boot camp because we are all in a battle, a spiritual battle. And Mikael, I want to let him explain to you what is boot camp.
Boot camp is a preparation for the future. It's a preparation for war, for battle.
So yeah, I love that you said preparation for the future.
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to go into a future of peace today.
All
Boot
right.
camp for peace. Because the old, we're going to, I have my little chart. I hope you can see. Boot camp for peace. We're going to talk, he's going to tell us about the old paradigm of boot camp in the military. And then we're going to give you new paradigm and the goals for the future. Because as he said, boot camp is preparation for what? A future battle, right?
Future war for battle, yes.
It certainly wasn't for
And
peace.
survival.
And
It's
survival. There
involved
you go.
survival, yes.
Because when you get into war, it's all about survival and what discipline.
Yeah.
Tell us about the discipline you received in the army, the U.S.
U.S.
Army
Army, yes.
military. What was the discipline? How did that work for boot camp?
Well, actually, the discipline starts from the beginning that you're at the induction station. You're following directions. Your discipline starts there. they're giving you instructions, and then when you leave the induction station, then you are informed that you're a GI, which means government issue. And as a GI, uh, it's further put forth that you don't think for yourself. You you are under the control of the governmental agency, which is the Army. And so, as such, you are to obey commands, you are to obey the rules. So, all of this is your disciplinary, we'll say, introduction into the military. And as I said, it begins there, even in the induction station. Then, when you get on the bus to go to your first training station, duty station, or where you get your basic training. Uh, on that bus, there's sergeant. So you have you learn about the chain of command to a small degree from the beginning. They let you know that the sergeants are your teachers. They're your instructors. They are your enforcement of what they call the military code of conduct. So the military code of conduct is equal basically to our Constitution. Uh, the government or the operation of the agency of the army or the military, if you want to call it that, is operated by those rules, which is called the military code of conduct. And so, anyway, while you're on that bus, the sergeants are like preparing you. They're giving instructions, you to be quiet, listen to what they're saying, preparing you, letting you know where you're going to go next. Which the first stop is the barber shop.
Cut that hair off.
Yes.
We've all seen
yes,
it in the movies.
And they're telling you in the meantime, you're going to shed off all what you have learned.
Letting go of the old beliefs.
Yes.
Letting go old
the
beliefs.
old beliefs, a lot of the old, we'll say, what's that term I want to use? Ethics and standards.
Standards.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Because you're coming into a new standard, a new paradigm, as Viyahta was mentioning earlier. And so they're preparing you for that as you're on the bus heading for your basic training post.
So we talked about some of the disciplinary activity or practices that you went through. Share with us how they disciplined you to become a good soldier, right?
Yes. Well,
first thing in the morning.
Okay. Yes, we have classes throughout the day, which reflect on this military code of conduct. So those classes go on all day, various classes, in different rooms. Once you're in your, we'll say your battalion, which is the overall, we'll say region of which you are operating, which you're particular. Because basically you have like a battalion, which is like an equivalent to, we would say, a state within the United States. Okay. And then within the state, you have your cities. Okay, that's your company. Okay, and then within the city, you have like your counties. Okay, and then that's like your company.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay,
but let's get into the discipline part. First thing, what's the first thing in the morning that starts your day that's teaching you discipline, and then how you're learning discipline throughout the day?
Well, first you learn. First of all, you get up early. They kind of address the statement that early to bed, early to rise, makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Okay, well, it makes a soldier what?
It makes a soldier healthy, wealthy, and wise. And
But
so,
are they wise? Are soldiers wise? Do they become
well,
wise
now
in this
that
discipline?
particular aspect, we have to just put that in parentheses.
Yeah.
Okay, we put that in
Okay.
parentheses. But healthy
Okay.
and
And
wealthy.
strong, right?
Yes, wealthy and which is
Healthy and
strength,
strong.
and also this wisdom comes from the training that you're getting.
Right.
Okay, and also that's considered like prosperity because it's helping you to prosper and be better,
Right. Okay.
preparing you for survival.
Physically, mostly,
Yes.
and mentally.
Yes,
So
mentally.
it is.
Yes.
It is a mental and physical training mostly.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you're getting up first thing in the morning. You're before daybreak. Okay, and part of that discipline is everything is based on a time factor. There's a certain time they give you a time. Once you there's a signal that you hear, and that signal lets you know, and it's loud. It lets you know that it's time to get up, and so you're given so much time. And the sergeants have already filled you in on how this time breakdown takes place. So you have so much time to do your hygiene. You get up, wash up, brush your teeth, whatever, you know, use the bathroom, whatever you have to do. Get dressed. Okay. And so now discipline comes into effect and all of that. Okay. Now, the dress code is that everyone has to be uniform. So you have a certain way that you have to dress, certain kind of way that you wear your pants, certain kind of way your shirt has to be buttoned up. Uh,
So you're no longer an individual with sovereignty.
no, all
That
that's
goes
gone.
out the window.
No, that
in
went
the
out the
military.
window while you were on the bus, as you were leaving the induction station. So, yeah, all of that. So, now once you're dressed, okay, part of the other discipline is you must make your bed up before you leave the barracks. Okay, the barracks is where you live during this time period of 3 months in which they're training you.
What happens if you don't make your bed?
Big trouble.
Big trouble. What? A whipping? You get a whipping?
Well, you get a tongue whipping, yeah, tongue lashing by the sergeants, and you're going to think that he's going to actually lay hands on you, but you might be forced to do push-ups, uh, or some kind of grueling physical exertion. And so, but really, by the time that sergeant gets through tongue lashing you, that's almost like a whipping in itself.
Okay.
You don't want to face that anymore
Okay.
because you're embarrassed in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And so,
So do you
yes.
exercise before you eat?
Okay,
or
we're
do
getting
you
to that.
eat?
We're getting to
Okay.
that. Okay, okay, because we're talking about discipline right now.
Right.
So, all right. So now you've gotten dressed. As I say, everything has to be a certain kind of way. Your boots have to be, as they call, spit shine. The sergeant has to see his face, like in the shining of your boots or the mirror image of your boot. That's kind of figuratively speaking, but they must be shined up perfectly. All right. And so then from there, you go to what they call revelry, and there you line up in formation. Okay, now the discipline involving that is you follow directions. Okay, you're in a line, and then they tell you how far you are to be between each other, arm's length between. And so you do that. You're in line. You're still. There's no talking. You stand erect a certain kind of way that you stand with your feet, your arms, and everything. They've told you all of this, and so you've been taught. And then you're inspected. So while you're in revelry, the sergeant is coming through to see if your boots are shined, they're tied up. You get to, you can't have them all loose like
Everything
maybe you
in
did
place.
at home, right?
Okay. No
Everything-
sloppiness.
No sloppiness. Everything's in place. You're quiet. You're standing there stiff like a board, and he goes through the lines to make sure everything is as it's supposed to be. And so then you honor the country by you pledge allegiance and so forth.
To the
To the
flag?
flag, yeah.
Really? You're saying the Pledge of Allegiance in the military?
Yeah, they have, yes. So,
Okay, they've been
leading-
training us since kindergarten, y'all,
So, yeah, so you're
to
doing
be
that.
in the military.
Yeah.
Okay, to be at war.
If
Okay,
I recall right, yes.
okay. So
Okay,
eating.
so, yeah, so then after that, after you're in reveille, eating is not the next thing on the agenda. The next
Okay.
thing on the agenda is exercise. You
Okay.
got to exercise. It's a extensive exercise that lasts for about a half an hour. I think, if I recall correctly, a half an hour minimal, where you're doing push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, calisthenics of all types, and then you're running for a mile. You have a mile run. All of that's in the morning before you eat. And once you finish that mile run, you come back, and then you head to the mess hall. That's what they call where you eat. You go to the mess hall and then you eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the initial training for discipline, right?
Yes.
Is all these things are done first when the sun rises. There's a routine, right?
Yeah.
And every day the
Every
same
day,
routine. It
same
doesn't
routine.
change.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So the eating is you have 2 hours to eat.
No, they only give you, if I'm correct, you have 20 minutes. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. You have a half an hour.
Half an hour for
Half
eating.
an hour for eating, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're sharing our experiences today. Mikael grew up in Detroit in a somewhat abusive household, if we can say that, right? And I grew up in Chicago with an alcoholic mother. No abuse, just lack of nurturing, caring from my mother, but a hard working father. So Mikael and I have talked about the difference in our belief systems and how we live our lives today are the fathers that influence us or not. And Mikael that became close to his father near the end of your father's life, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I had a long, all my life, 60, 67, 66 years, my father was very, very close to me, very wise. He lived to be 95 years old. My father was in the military as well. And I wrote a book about his military that included his military experience back in the 40s. Yeah, 40s. He was born in 24. So isn't that interesting that your experience in the
Yeah.
military was the same as my dad, even though there were 20?
Yeah,
So
that's
they,
interesting. But can I interject this
yeah,
also? I wasn't raised by my dad. My
right,
dad lived in New York. I lived in Detroit. I was
right.
given away, and consequently, I was given away to my aunt and uncle, which was the second time I was given away. But anyway, my uncle was not a father figure.
Right.
He wasn't even the man of the house. My aunt was, and he worked. He was the type of man. He worked. He brought his check home, give it to
His
to his
wife.
wife. She took care of the bills and everything. If there
Did the
was some,
cooking.
yes,
We
right,
had
and
a
did
lot
the
of good
cooking, a lot
cooking.
of good cooking, house cleaning. Or she taught me that became my job, really.
Yeah,
And so that's the way it was. I didn't have a father figure
right. Like I did.
early on,
Strong, my
right?
father.
Yeah,
figure.
my father figure came from other people, whereas my uncle, he didn't talk to me about stuff or nothing. He would come home. He worked in a factory, and he'd be tired, and he'd come home and pretty much recuperate from work until the
Yes,
next day.
yes. So we're sharing this with you because a relationship with another person is based on your childhood upbringing, whether it's going to be a healthy relationship or
Yes.
not, and whether the individuals, the adults, we're both senior citizens. I'm 68. You want to tell your age?
Yes. I'm 76.
Speak up, speak up.
I'm 76, everyone.
So
Yes.
we're taking good care of our bodies, but we have these old paradigm thoughts and beliefs, like he just shared, that
Yes.
are ingrained in our subconscious,
Right.
that need to be let go of. I was listening to a teaching by Matt Kahn this morning, and all of the affirmations, the repetitions were letting go of duality, letting go of this war mind, this attack. Letting go is what the message is in this time of war. We're
Yes.
all involved, even though if you live in the United States, the war is here because it's in our minds, it's in our heart. Don't watch TV because you're going to be stressed. The media right now is really excited about reporting this war. Everybody wants to have, because they get more viewers most of the time. When you agree?
Yeah, that's
So
right. Yeah.
that's why we want to bring you a new paradigm of peace. This is all about boot camp for peace, and this might be the first of many teachings. Would you say
Okay. Yeah.
sharings?
Sharing. Yeah.
Because we have the experience, 70 some years,
Yes.
almost 70
Yes.
years here,
Yes.
and we have peace. For the most part, we have peace inside, and as you might recognize, Mikhail has more to overcome. Being in the military, I didn't have this training. No, no. I was, in fact, I was in on the swim team. I had an alcoholic parent. That was my trauma, if you will, to overcome, because you have a lot of lack of nurturing and resentment, sort of, but you have abandonment. Mikhail and I both have issues of abandonment that we are overcoming.
Yes.
And so that influences our ability to go into the new paradigm of peace. And then we have goals. So this morning, this day, thank you. First of all, let me say thank you for the rain. But I
Yes.
asked the Most High to please stop the rain because it's noisy. So right now we got some peace. The rain has paused for us. Thank you, Yah. Thank you.
Thanks.
So that you can hear our love coming through. Oh, here it comes soon. That's me.
Okay.
But we get these pauses in the rain. But I wanted
pause.
to be like my brother Ralph Smart, out here in the heart of nature. We are
Heart of
in
nature.
we are
Everybody.
in the backyard of Viyahta's tiny house village,
Yes.
and we want to just bring forth things to think about during this very stressful, anxiety, polarized season where people are taking sides on the war. I'm not doing that. No, 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 no. No, I know too much about the history of the Middle East, right?
Yes.
And we both love the biblical scriptures and prophecies that we have learned throughout the years, right?
Right.
So we're not taking sides on this. We can't take sides. It's polarizing. They're right, they're wrong. This is just a little insanity right now, but we want to help you let go of the tension, the anxiety, the stress that is building as more tragedies surface, that say these psychopathic, ego-minded, narcissistic leaders in the world have lost their minds. That's what they've lost their minds. When you have MIC, that stands for Military Industrial Complex, at work throughout the globe, you learn more about that. I have people in my life, not just Mikhail, who have been in the military. They know the inside operations of every time there's a war. They can tell you some things that will make your hair stand up on your back of your head. And it's not as it appears. It's like an iceberg. You see the top.
Right.
In the mainstream media is showing us the top of the iceberg, all
There you go.
the killing and suffering and brutality and bomb. Every day I open up my phone, there's pictures of fire in the air and bombs blowing up, and you wonder, is this Hollywood production? Because on some level, if you go beneath the iceberg, there's this Hollywood production going on. And so let's talk about boot camp for peace. Okay. So chime in whenever you're ready. But
Yes.
first of all, discipline. The boot camp for peace is about discipline.
Right.
We can no longer be staying out late, drinking alcohol and smoking dope all day, and that's out. Because why? Weakens the body.
That's right. We had a certain time to go to bed every evening at the same time. The lights were out, and that's it till in the morning. So they gave you adequate time to sleep and have your body renewed and regenerated for that next day.
So we're going to say in the new paradigm, discipline still applies.
That's discipline, yes.
Because in the new paradigm for peace, we need to be able to communicate to our brothers and sisters about priorities versus war mentality. We're coming out of this government issue and we're coming into creator issue. I'm going to put, instead of government issue, GI, you're no longer a GI. You can be a servant.
A CI.
What's the CI?
You said creator issue.
Thank you. You can be a servant or a creator issue. We're gonna say a CI. We're becoming CI, creator issue. If you want to put GI, it will be God issue, not government. We could, if you're still using the word God, that's fine. Whatever is relevant for you. GI is now God issue in the new paradigm. We cannot let the government is psychopathic and on every level. If you ever watch some of these congressional meetings they having, they're not talking about anything that affects us really as much as just building their ego. So that's how I see it. So servant, you're becoming a servant of the Most High, my language, or GI, God issue, not government issue, right?
Yeah.
So that's the new paradigm we want to present to you. And then obey command. Who are you obeying? You're going to obey nature. We're out here in the heart of nature, baby, like my friend Ralph Smart says. The rain is falling. Are you going to be going out doing push-ups in the rain? Maybe, because you're listening to a higher voice. Maybe you need to go sit under a tree in the rain. Maybe you need to go walking in the rain because it's very healing. Here it comes again. See, there's a confirmation. The rain's falling. So your obedience and commands are coming from nature. The Most High, it may be telling you by sending you friends, family, birds, bees. That's all GI, God issue. That's all creator. We want to help you stop listening to the voice of men as much as you're listening to the voice of your creator, which includes the rain and nature. It is pouring rain right now. So what can you do when the rain is falling? What can you do when the rain is falling, Michael?
Find a shelter.
Find shelter, okay? So that's what and sometimes in war, did you find a shelter or did you just put on your rain gear and keep pushing?
We were given ponchos. You put your
poncho.
If you're working, then you put your poncho on before the rain starts or while it's still going.
So you have a poncho ready. I have a poncho because my family and I went to a concert one with Imagine Dragons, and it was raining late in the day, and I had my poncho. The kids had their poncho and ran brain boost. So equipment.
Yes.
Equipment for the new paradigm might be a poncho because you don't want to get out of the rain. You want to be in the rain, or you may be out without the poncho.
Well, yes, you're given equipment to transition depending upon the situation. So you've got equipment that varies, that can be used under various conditions, under various situations. Okay.
So the creator is your commander. We're shifting, we're transitioning, transform from old paradigm thinking, military war, preparing for war. No, we're preparing for peace. And I like to say, preparing for peace in the rain is just awesome because the rain is not going to kill you. The rain is going to bless you. Would you say? Have you ever had rain kill a person?
I've never heard of it.
So when you're preparing new paradigm boot camp for peace, you're preparing for blessings. When you get out of this war mentality, obey your commander. He said there's a sergeant. What did we say? There's a lieutenant, there's a captain, there's a major, there's a colonel, there's a general, there's a, what was that, chief?
Commander-in-chief. That's
Commander-in-chief. The president. Do we want to obey this president? Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. That's what we think about with this president. Nah. So we have to develop our own intuition, our own ear hearing from the creator, from the rain. When you hear the rain falling, what do you hear? What do you hear?
You're hearing a response from heaven. I look at that's the way I
This
take it.
is a response from heaven, he said. Your commander in chief might be yelling at you or screaming at you because you didn't make your bed. But when the rain starts falling, is the creator angry at you? I don't think
No.
so. That's a consequence of nature release, letting go. Okay. This is a sign of letting go. The clouds are letting go the moisture right now. And that's what the boot camp for peace is all about. Thank you. Thank you, Heavenly Father. This
Yes.
boot camp for
Thank you.
peace is all about letting go. So it's very fitting that it's raining, that the clouds, the part of nature that feeds us, you can get energy from the clouds. It's feeding us right now with a message to let go of your tears. How about this rain could represent tears?
Okay.
You need to cry, my honey, because of all the trauma and the war mindedness. Some people need to cry right now. Go ahead, cry. Let it out. The rain is here. It's reminding us to cry. Let go. And then we have the teacher sergeant. Some days this man is my teacher, and some days I'm his teacher.
Right.
And so when he's the teacher, I'm the student.
All right.
We don't have to compete.
No.
We have to recognize when he's talking about military experience, I'm a student. I'm a student. I'm listening with all ears. I want to know what I have not been in the military. I don't want to be in the military ever, but I'm in a spiritual battle. And that's what the new paradigm thinking is. We don't have to go through all this training boot camp in the military, but our training is now spiritual battle. And what is you didn't talk about this, but one of the things they were teaching you is fearlessness.
Yes. Fearlessness. Yes.
Which
That's
goes also along in the new paradigm, only it's a little. So what is the teaching in the military that helps you come out of fear? How do they help you let go of fear?
Well, they give you, as I said, we have classes, and some of those classes involve psychology, and they deal with the psychology of fear versus fearlessness, and then they give you examples and they give you instructions on how to get rid of the fear, and they're basically their um, I'll say remedy for fear is to face it. Uh, they will not let you allow fear to just overwhelm you. If fear is in the process of trying to overwhelm you, they will arrest it immediately, and you may have more than one sergeant that's working with you uh, to, I guess, redirect, we'll say, your thoughts concerning fear and to get you directed towards fearlessness. Now, some people, they're used to living a life of fear, and so it takes time. I mean, we've had people in our training that were that way, and you don't immediately get over that. It takes sometimes it takes days. It takes prompting on the behalf of the leadership, and then of course they're inspiring you to want to make a change, and then they tell you about how important it is to be fearless under extreme battle conditions, because you are really I'll say, the protector of your brother, your fellow soldier. That's your brother, and so therefore you're not just for because they also they're teaching you as part of that discipline unity and the power of unity, and so consequently you are to understand that in the face of fear you must face it so that you can empower your brother who might also be going into a state of fear. And so that will in effect, since you know that you've got to be strong for that other person or those other persons, because see, you have your breakdown within your command. You have like on the lowest uh, we'll say division, you have your team. So you got your team members, and the team members are close. You ought to look out for each one. You know, you're one. And then from the team, you have your squads, now, which she didn't mention that earlier, uh, but those are the lower divisions of command. You have your team leader, you have your squad leader, and then you have your sergeant who is over the barracks, and then you have your sergeant who is over that sergeant, or you have sergeants who are may have more experience in various levels that are on different levels that are basically considered equals.
Thank you.
Yes.
You said some really key words.
Yes.
Unity,
Yes.
division,
Yes.
and facing your fear.
Yes.
So we are all right now on this planet facing the fear of war, nuclear war, conflict, stress, death. Lots of reports about death right now coming from the Middle East. So the fear is touching many of us, and we want to face it. So beautiful teaching this morning I listened to by Matt Kahn. If you don't know him, just look him up. He's on the internet. He's beautiful. He said he was telling us about we have to allow all the karmic patterns to be faced, felt completely, and let go. Just what you said. In other words, what Mikhail shared about military fearlessness and division and unity, that's where we are with this Middle East conflict. It's not about taking sides. I can't emphasize that enough. We have people, majority of the people I've heard, we've got to support Israel. We've got to support his. And then some people actually are saying, kill, kill, kill in the name of Jesus. I'm thinking, you lost your mind. Jesus ain't talking about killing nobody in the name. No, no, no. We have this misconception that we're supposed to meet violence with violence. And that's why we're still in this war all these hundreds of years later, and people are dying and suffering. How many people right now are suffering in Palestine because of what has happened? How many people are suffering in Israel because of the aggressiveness of the other side? So both of them, to me, are in a state of mind that is out of balance with the Creator's alignment of love, compassion, wisdom. So what we want to just emphasize here, and we don't want to keep you more than an hour, and we'll have to come back because this is so important to renew your thinking. Allow the karmic patterns. How many karmic patterns do you see in the Middle East? Do you see any karmic patterns in the Middle East?
They're everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. If you've lived as long as Mikhail and I, we have heard this history of that region, not just from a biblical standpoint, from a historical standpoint. We can't be polarized. We should not be polarized. I'm really encouraging you not to be polarized in this Middle East conflict. Study history. Study history. We're talking about thousands of years of karmic patterns, and we don't have to go into much detail. I think it's your business if you choose to study history in the region. And then, even though,
may I inject something?
yeah, even though it sounds and looks horrible right now, there's a strong karmic pattern. Go ahead.
Speaking of these patterns, as you study the history and you become aware, this helps you as an individual, we'll say, to understand the conflict. Okay, understand the origin of the conflict. And then you, by virtue of that knowledge, if you receive overstanding, consequently, of that situation, why it persisted and so forth, then you can understand, because as Viyahta was saying earlier about polarization, where you become on this side, you agree with this side, or you agree with this side, or you disagree against them, you agree with them, and they talked about bullying and what was the other term,
Victim,
victim
victim,
mode.
becoming
But
the victim.
once you become informed and aware and open-minded to the situation, then you will realize you don't have to be polarized. You can just understand, because both sides think they're right. Okay, you might think this side is right, okay, but this side think they're right also with you, but then you have this side over here that they think that they're right, and then you have other people who think that they're right. But if you have this inner standing, it can become communal standing, where you understand on a more wide spectrum. And so therefore you don't have to become polarized. You can understand both sides. Okay, not saying that you agree with the means or methods that they're using to try to find a solution, but you can understand, and then you can in turn share that understanding with those around you, and that can spread and kind of, as we'll say, blossom and just grow.
And this
Yeah.
and that, what he just said is only the top of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Okay, we're bringing you some knowledge, experience, information that is only above the surface of the iceberg.
Right. Because yes.
Underneath there, you've got a lot of military industrial complex. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, we don't want to go into that, but there's a lot about for instance, Lockheed Martin is the one of the richest corporations in America, if not the world. Lockheed Martin is located right here in Orlando, and I had worked for a gentleman who used to work for Lockheed Martin for I think 30 years. And when he retired, he was on the floor for a whole year. He was so stressed out and drained from working at the largest military contractor, Lockheed Martin, in the world. So the energy, and he told me, shared this with me every day. He worked up in a tower, and the people up in the tower there was an ambulance coming to that location every day. He said every day you have, because people were having heart attacks. They were just so stressed working for the largest military contractor in the world, or if not in the world, in America. And it's right here, Lockheed Martin. Keep that. And then you have other corporations who are feeding this corporate military behemoth, I would say. It's a giant. And that's what's beneath the iceberg. Okay. And we can leave it at that unless you have
Yeah, no,
anything.
that's fine.
We'll leave it at that.
That's
That's why
oh, yeah, I'd like to interject this. Just like what you were saying about behind all of this, and the tip of the iceberg is what has been presented to you on purpose. It's been planned to just allow you to see the tip of the iceberg. And then underneath is all this action and interaction by those powers that you mentioned, those corporations, the so called elite working together with the powers that be. But then, according to my understanding of the scriptures, uh, behind all of that play and counterplay and all of this, the Most High is working out the purposes that the Most High has uh, devised for the betterment of the creation.
yes,
And
yes.
so, yes, and so now doing that planning, there's an allowance for this conflict, because in order to okay, and I'm thinking now, in order to arrive at this oneness that comes in peace, or the peace that comes out of the unity, or we could say, because they're both intertwined, they're both together. Uh, that I would say, now there was a thought that I had. Uh, all of this has to be allowed, and so then, as you see all of these conflicts, all of this this trouble, all of this, I'm going to say hell, all this hell, people say all hell is breaking out. Okay, when as a result of all this hell, and you come into awareness, and you understand what the causes and all of this, and as you progress, and as she was saying earlier, you're evolving or developing to this better being who has this understanding, overstanding, understanding, and then ultimately communal standing. And so then you realize we don't want to follow that path again. We want the new paradigm. And so then once everybody's on that same plane, peace, shalom.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I was thinking about one of the presidential candidates.
And can I say this also?
Yes.
Shalom encompasses more than just peace.
Yes. Yes. And it's
unity,
a Hebrew,
and all of that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a Hebrew
and it's a
word.
Hebrew word.
Yes.
And the irony is in Israel, where they speak Hebrew,
yes,
there is more conflict and not a lot of shalom.
Amazing.
You know what I mean?
Amazing, yes.
But I was thinking about something I heard Vivek Ramaswamy say. He's running for president, and he's only 37 years old. And people keep saying, well, you don't have any experience. You don't have any experience. You're kind of young. You just sit down and be quiet. And you know what? He said something so deep this late with this conflict. And I could see the seriousness and the stress of the whole thing. He said, look at where experience has got us. All these people in our government been in there, half of them, half a century. How long's Joe Biden been in there? Brandon, let's go, Brandon. How long have most of the people, the gray-haired old men in the government have been there way over 20 years even. So let's not look at experience in terms of who you want to be government issue or creator issue. You want someone who is speaking truth and wisdom.
Right.
Who gives a flying F about how long they've been in government? That's out the window now, folks.
That's right.
Let us not be looking at electing people because they have experience in the government. My heart goes out to you if you feeling like we want someone in the government who has experience. No, we don't. Because a man like Vivek, and I'm behind Vivek because he's a millennial, he's articulate, he's smart. He has a history of different ideas that we might not agree with. But at this stage of the game, most of the players in this conflict in the Middle East are old and experienced in government and politics. So we're looking at a political theater being played out right now. And we want to encourage you today to come out of this polarization and allow all the karmic patterns to be faced. And if you don't know what they are, that means you need to do your homework, because this is how we get to new paradigm is disciplining, exercise, still goes the exercise, waking up early, doing your exercise, get out of the GI government issue and into CI creator. You are a vessel of the creator. The energy of the universe, cosmic force is now your commander in chief. That's in the new paradigm. If you choose, commander in chief is not some guy with a uniform on and all these medals. Look at all the experience I have in the military. And yeah, we're about to go into World War III with all your experience. No, we've had enough of that. So we're promoting fearlessness. Why should you be fearless? Face the fear that we are all sometimes afraid of death, right? That's the fear that many of us face. But I'm telling you, there is no end to your soul journey, okay? And that's another thing you might want to research if you don't believe that. I understand some people might not believe that there's karma and reincarnation. That's okay. Research it and find peace. If you are in fear, you need to face it. Number one, be fearless and come into unity with those of us who are aware and conscious of the karmic patterns that need to be faced. We need to feel them completely and then let go of them. That's how we're going to, and there's more to this um, facing the karmic patterns. But we're going to leave it at that today, and hope that if there's any questions, put those in the comment section on YouTube. And one of the goals that we're looking at is strength in our mind, body, and our soul. Soul strength is I'm not going to die. I'm never going to die. There is no death for my soul. My soul will leave this body and have another adventure somewhere else. That's my belief. And I think Mikhail has a similar belief,
Yes,
if not
yeah.
the exact same.
Yeah.
Our soul goes on. So we can let go of the fear of death that, oh, what if a bomb comes here? Or what if terrorists show up? That New York just got a warning that be aware of some people who might harm you. I'm just going to leave it at that. And we've had let all these migrants in, thousands of people. And there's something called, what was the name of that where they're planted? The
Oh yeah,
military
they're
term.
called cells.
Cells, secret cells, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Cells. Just think cells moving around in the community that want to harm people. But we
I
cannot.
think they're called sleeping
Sleeper cells.
Sleeper
That's a
cells, yeah.
military term. That look it up. And because we have allowed all these migrants in our country, look up sleeper cells. What does sleeper cells mean? I'm just telling you. So then we come out of fear. We face it. We've got a lot of risk in this new paradigm of moving out of war. And the risk is that you still have people want to hurt you or harm you, maybe. But I'm going to tell you my testimony. When you are in a new paradigm of peace and discipline in nature, loving your friends, your family, not judging them, coming out of completely out of judgment and fear, then the blessings come, and you will have the protection you need from all enemies that you see maybe threatening you. Any final words for our friends to stay in peace? We're in the boot camp for peace, and we're going to do probably some more videos as long as this activity is surfacing over in the Middle East and people, and even in the United States, there's stuff happening. We've been told for many months now to prepare for the worst, and it's here. But we're here to help you stay in the boot camp for peace. We want to prepare you for strength, discipline, fearlessness, and unity. Any final thoughts?
Well, I would just say be renewed in your mind.
And that's what it took for you,
Yes.
right, to come out of this old paradigm, code of conduct, having a government, being a GI, little GI boy here, who's now a man of Yah. Thank you. And discipline is in his discipline. We are both challenged to be disciplined in our eating and our response to triggers, right?
Yes.
We have both had a very interesting journey of choosing to be more disciplined in what we're eating, because both of us had a childhood of lots of sugar, junk food, processed food. And so our challenge in the new paradigm is to think discipline, less eating, for me, less processed food, and less sugar, which is hard because sugar is a dopamine. It raises the dopamine, makes you feel better. And we had a childhood of feeling good from the Cheerios and all the junk food, M&Ms, all that. We're coming out of and it was a war. It's a war within our body when we were eating all that junk food, and we didn't realize it. We weren't listening to our body. All we want comfort. And that's in the new paradigm. The discipline challenge that we have to face is that we still have desires for comfort food, and we're renewing our mind, as Mikhail said. We're renewing our mind to not look for comfort food, but to look for comfort in nature. Go out in the rain and get rid of that desire for whatever junk food and go out in the rain. Go out and hug a tree. That's the discipline challenge for you. If you are addicted to anything, time for us to turn to nature for solution and relief. So I hope this video has been helpful for you to calm down and face the karmic paradigms, the patterns, and let go. Do tapping. I am an EFT practitioner, and I coach. And I have a Friday morning. Join me a Friday morning at 8 a.m. on health and well-being with Viyahta. I bring you up-to-date news on how to take charge of your health. And this man here is always supporting me in what I do. And I'm supporting him in his challenge to come out of this old paradigm, because that was a strong. How long were you in the military?
I was only in 2 years.
2 years, 2 years of heavy duty pro, and then time in Vietnam with in combat, right?
Yes.
That's a lot to overcome. And many men today have chosen to take their life, to leave the body. 22 people, I believe it's up to 22 soldiers, military men, are committing suicide every day. And then there's PTSD, and then there's harm to the family, blah, blah, blah. So that's why one of the reasons we need to come out of this old paradigm, face the karmic, the childhood patterns, and embrace them, feel them, and let them go. That's what tapping is all about. We're going to do more tapping in future videos to help you let go, let go, let go. Join me tomorrow morning on Health and Wellbeing with Viyahta, and I'm going to have some great news for you to help you take charge of your health. Thank you, dear, for joining me.
All right. Well, you're welcome.
And everybody, I'm going to leave you with my, let's see, my favorite video. Part of these videos.